On today's edition of Westman This Week, inside the seemingly empty building is a dirty little secret. The Cougars women hockey team is going for gold in the United States in an all-Canadian showdown. And a furry little creature sets out to find new friends. All of that and more on this edition of Westman This Week. Hello and welcome to Westman This Week for March 20th. Thanks for joining us. I'm ABBEY JUBINVILLE. We begin with some troubling news. RCMP have arrested a 14-year-old boy from Rivers accused of planning a school shooting at his high school. This is Rivers Collegiate Institute. Police say the boy was plotting an attack alongside a 15-year-old girl from Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. The girl planned to take action at her own school, shown here, at the same time as the boy launched his attack. Interpol and the FBI tipped off the RCMP that two teenagers were planning a school shooting. Police say both the suspects were arrested without incident. They face charges of uttering threats, and more charges are expected. Neither teen can be named because they are both underage. The boy will appear in court in Brandon in April. If you lived in Manitoba, you know that you're in for a bumpy ride when going for a drive. Yes, it's that time again. Pothole season is upon us. Our Parker Henderson has more.
Brandon drivers deal with one of the most common road problems every year, potholes. These holes in the pavement might seem like small inconveniences, but they can cause damage to your vehicle. James Turk is one of the many people who has had damage to his car caused by these holes.
I try my best to avoid potholes, but sometimes you get unlucky and you hit one and you end up with a pop tire like me.
And just like that, you're left without a vehicle and a dent in your wallet.
Unfortunately, I got stuck with a $200 bill to fix my blown tire.
A 2021 study by the Canadian Automobile Association finds drivers are paying $3 billion annually in higher vehicle operating costs due to poor road infrastructure and potholes being the leading cause. Evald Friesen, a manager of government of community relations for CAA Manitoba, says it depends on the month when potholes form.
Freeze-thaw cycle. So every spring it gets warm and then it gets cold and it gets warm and then it gets cold. And what happens is that water seeps into the cracks in the pavement and the water freezes and expands.
The City of Brandon's budget in 2025 was around $200,000 for potholes. It's expected to go up this year, but the budget has not been released yet. Dylan Knight is a heavy-duty mechanic and knows a lot about the damages that potholes can do.
Mainly in your tires, your wheels, you can bend a rim, you can pop your tire, you can bend a control arm.
71% of drivers in Canada say if they see a car swerve, they think it's because of a pothole.
Best thing to do when you're coming on a pothole and you can't do anything is not to brake. When you brake, it'll jar everything.
Expect to wait close to summer for the pothole situation to be worked on. Until then, you just gotta enjoy the bumpy ride. For Westman This Week, I'm Parker Henderson.
For years, a large store has sat vacant in the middle of Brandon. But in the coming months, that may be changing. Our STEFEN has more.
Grocery giant Sobeys has recently come under fire from the Manitoba government for not dropping property restrictions. Last year, the government of Manitoba passed a law preventing grocery stores from holding property from competition. Despite having plenty of time to make changes, Sobeys still continues to hold properties across Manitoba. This 42,000-foot property was completely vacated by Sobeys in 2017, but continues to be leased until 2028. Minister of Public Service Delivery Mintu Sandhu reached out directly to Sobeys CEO to discuss removing these property controls. Sandhu says when supermarkets register property controls, they restrict competition that would otherwise help keep food prices more affordable. If Sobeys doesn't respond to Sandhu, the matter will be brought to the municipal board in spring. Westman This Week, I'm Stefan STRUTH.
It's almost final exam time for colleges and universities. At Brandon University, organizers hold an annual event to help students manage the stress. As our reporter, Sage Ducharme, shows us now, anxiety over schoolwork is a serious problem.
Students at Brandon University are lining up for pizza, but it's not a pizza party. It's BU's annual event called Long Night Against Procrastination.
And it's an opportunity for the campus community to come together to focus on their schoolwork, but also to have access to academic services and supports, as well as for some fun, some snacks, some stress-busting activities, and just a really great time to both get ahead on your work, but also to take a step back from your weekly routine.
Students here can stick around until 2 a.m. playing games, learning about stress busters, and getting advice on schoolwork. And of course, they get down to studying. Lots of studying.
Actually does, because I'm around friends that we do the same courses together. So at the end of the day, I have motivation from those friends to actually study and not procrastinate. So.
The fun and games here actually has a serious purpose. A study in 2025 found that burnout amongst university students actually exceeds levels found in the working population, and student burnout often means dropping out.
I think a lot of people, including our students, can struggle with heavy workloads, and especially in university, there's many competing priorities all at once.
Events like Long Night Against Procrastination aim to give students space, support, and motivation they need to finish the semester strong. And judging by tonight's turnout, it's clear that BU students are ready to tackle those deadlines head on. Reporting from Brandon University Library, Westman This Week's Sage Ducharme.
One of the largest career fairs in Westman has now wrapped up for another year. Our JENNIE UNRAU was there. She met some of the students searching for a future career.
The Brandon Career Symposium holds 80 exhibitors reaching out to around 2.5 thousand high school students who are looking into their future path, and 2.5 thousand newcomers looking for a new career to fit their life. The Manitoba Room and UCT Pavilion in the Keystone Center were filled with recruitment booths trying to inspire the public to look their way.
Where students can really see all of their options for their future. They can dream together. It's like this buffet of options of what they can do for their future, and that's just the coolest thing.
As students roam through the building, you can see the interest in the healthcare booths with walkthroughs and demonstrations, and fun games to win prizes. But do the students really enjoy being forced to come to these events by their school? Some tell us why they enjoyed their experience.
I think it's good to see a bunch of different options, and yeah.
You get to see different jobs compared to what you would see in a small town.
And you get a lot of free stuff.
The symposium is an amazing opportunity for education institutions to showcase their programs and strengthen their presence in the community. The ASSINIBOINE College was the title sponsor for the event. The chair of directors for the Brandon Career Symposium tells us more on why everyone should come and visit.
Well, we have lots of things here for job seekers of all ages, whether you're a high school student looking to understand the career options ahead of you. We have over 40 different post-secondary education organizations here, exhibiting all of the programming that they have to offer. There's a lot of interactive displays.
Thousands of students from around Manitoba came here to the Brandon Career Symposium, looking towards their future. But it wasn't just open to the students. People from the general public also came here today on Tuesday from 5 to 8 p.m. From Westman This Week, I'm JENNIE UNRAU.
Residential schools, one of Canada's darkest chapters. They were created to strip Indigenous peoples of their identities, their rights, and their connections to the land. One of the most devastating losses was their language. Generations of children had their mother tongues taken away. But as Ben Kennedy tells us now, a recent gathering in Brandon is fighting back.
This poster is on the wall of the Keystone Center. This woman is signing her support for preserving Indigenous languages. Inside, about 100 people gather. Some are survivors of residential schools. Everyone here wants to know how to save Indigenous languages. And they do need saving. According to Statistics Canada, the number of people speaking an Indigenous language in this country dropped almost 5% in just 5 years. Now, Sioux Valley Dakota Nation wants to reclaim and revitalize the Dakota language.
Over the last 100 years, there was various policies and laws that outlawed our culture and our language.
This event is called the Oshwente-Shakaktawan Gathering. One elder here says rebuilding the language is about more than just communicating. It's about remembering who you are.
How do we keep our language, the importance of our Dakota language? That's part of our ceremony, our kinship to one another and to nature, our prayers, everything's connected to that language, that way of life. So this is what I'd like to share, and I'd like to encourage all you young people to hear the language, to learn it if you can. So that's very important so we can keep it alive and keep it going.
Younger generations are now stepping forward to reclaim what was taken from their families. Recent research shows that more young people are taking classes in their languages as students. Even adults are signing up to learn how to speak their tongue. The people here say learning their language is not only an act of cultural pride, it's a responsibility. One family told the audience they want their children to learn the Dakota language. That will restore the language that was taken away from their grandparents. For Westman This Week, I'm Ben Kennedy in Brandon.
Picture a student caught between two worlds, the traditions of their ancestors and the demands of college. This is a balancing act that Indigenous students face every day. Oceanna Hall has more.
Imagine leaving everything you know, your family, your land, your culture, to go to college. That's what it's like for many Indigenous students, especially those coming from reservations. It can be a huge culture shock, and feeling alone is a real struggle. I am here at the Cultural Center, where they are hosting movie night. Events like these are very important for Indigenous students to feel connected and a part of a community. It's where students can laugh, share stories, and support each other through tough times. For Indigenous students, having this community is everything. It's a reminder of who they are and where they come from. It's a place to celebrate their traditions, find strength in their identity, and connect with others who understand their journey. These events aren't just for fun. They're essential for helping students succeed and thrive in college.
Events are being added slowly, so that's really good for the Indigenous students and non-Indigenous, just for a place to hang out and relax. And
that's where we come from, is communities, and it just feels more inclusive, more like home.
When we support these students, we're not only helping individuals, we are creating a stronger and more understanding community for everybody. From Westman This Week, Oceanna Hall.
By national standards, Assiniboine College is just a small school in a rural part of Canada. And yet, this year, Assiniboine sent 3 women's teams to national and international championships. Our RUHAO Liu wanted to find out, what's Assiniboine's secret?
The Cougars answer!
Students and staff at the Assiniboine gathered to show support for the Cougars women's hockey team. The Cougars are competing in the North American Collegiate Hockey Championships. The team aimed to win their 3rd North American title.
I am very proud of them.
They entered the championship with a 23-2 record, including a 19-game winning streak to end the regular season.
We were able to find some really talented players this year and pull from BC and Saskatchewan and Ontario in the past, and so we've got a good reach and we're creating a good reputation as a strong program, which makes it easier to recruit as well.
2 other Cougars women's teams stepped onto the big stage this year. The curling team played at the Canadian College Championships in February, and the volleyball team completed the dream season, then competed for the first time at the Canadian College Volleyball Nationals. The Assiniboine College president credits great coaching.
That coaching has attracted players in, helped to recruit better players in, has developed those players. You can watch on the women's side where the team not only gets better every year, but they get better within the year.
Assiniboine provides small scholarship to its athletes to help them focus on playing instead of working, and there's intense recruitment of top athletes from high schools around Western Manitoba. In the classrooms, ASSINIBOINE instructors support students' athletes by working with them to get coursework completed on time. This instructor has had many athletes pass through her class.
Faculty and staff across the college work a lot one-on-one with students to come up with plans to support their academic work so they can be successful in school and in their competitions.
The question still remains, why are the women's teams so strong?
I think that our women's teams right now, we've got good leadership, good recruitment. They're really, they're putting their heart into it, and their hard work is paying off.
The athletic season has just concluded, and the new season is still months away. But the athletics says they're already lining up their future plans, making sure the Cougars are ready to pounce again next year. I'm RUHAO at ASSINIBOINE College.
That's all the time we have for local news. We'll be right back after this short break.
And here are some of the international headlines that made the news this week. Emergency personnel responded after Iranian ballistic missile attacks in Israel. Debris littered the streets of Ramat Gan and a train station in Tel Aviv. The rockets killed 2 people, according to Israel's emergency response service. Cameras captured what appeared to be a cluster munition in the skies over central Israel. The video appeared to show dozens of bomblets dispersing in the sky before making impact. Meanwhile, the tit-for-tat exchange of missile strikes continued as Israel launched more attacks on Iran. Video posted by Iranian Red Crescent Society shows aid workers at the scene of an airstrike. The footage seems to show a residential area, with aid workers attempting to rescue their fellow citizens. Israel claimed that the strikes have killed 2 more members of Iran's top leadership as the war enters its 3rd week. The U.S. is trying to rally support to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The waterway is a route for about 1/5 of the world's oil supply. The war has severely disrupted shipping traffic. Iranian threats, the risk of mines, and constant overflights by missiles and bombers have made the Strait of Hormuz too dangerous for most vessels. U.S. President Donald Trump is asking European countries for help to reopen the vital waterway. However, most of the usual allies have either declined to help or stayed silent. In Mexico, 5 people were killed after a major fire broke out at the Pemex refinery in the southeastern part of the country. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said the blaze at the refinery in the state of Tabasco does not pose a risk to the public, but the investigation continues into the cause and potential effects of the fire. The explosion happened early Tuesday morning when very few workers were on site. It took more than 2 hours for firefighters to put out the blaze. Hawaii is recovering slowly after intense rainfall brought flash flooding that damaged properties and caused landslides. The island of Maui was the hardest hit, but Molokai and the Big Island were also impacted. High winds and heavy rain caused widespread power outages, leaving thousands without electricity. The worst of the storms have passed, but wind and rainfall warnings remain in effect as cleanup efforts are ongoing. And that is all the time we have for international headlines. Paige Hutchinson will be in with The Weekender right after this short break. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Weekender for March 20th. I'm Paige Hutchinson. Here's what's happening this weekend around Brandon and Western Manitoba. The Westman naturalists are holding a tour of the herbarium at Brandon University. Dr. Terence McGonigal will be showing the university's diverse collection of plant specimens. He'll also be teaching how to identify different plant types. The tour is tomorrow morning. If you want to participate, visit discoverwestman.com to sign up. Crocus Plains High School is presenting Amelie the musical. Amelie is an extraordinary young woman who lives quietly in the world, but loudly in her mind. She covertly improvises small but surprising acts of kindness that bring both joy and a little mayhem. But when a chance at love comes her way, Amelie realizes that to find happiness, she'll have to risk everything. The show is at 7 p.m. tonight and 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. All shows are at the WMCA. Ticket prices go between $15 to $25. On Sunday, only you can see Mecca on Broadway. Mecca is putting on their yearly show where they celebrate the best of Broadway. Performances are from Mecca students of all ages, from toddlers to experienced cast members. The show starts at 3 p.m. on Sunday. Tickets for children and students are $15, and for adults and seniors, they will cost $20. The Westman Gaming Expo is coming to the Keystone Center this weekend. The event is being hosted in the Manitoba Room and UCT Pavilion from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. There will be over 50 booths and lots of places to play. Entry fee is $3. Ages 10 and under are free. At the 40 this weekend, the band called Along for the Ride is playing tonight and tomorrow. They play a mix of classic rock, country, and a bit of everything on the edge. Photo ID is required and a cover fee may apply. Houston's is having a fundraiser for Alexis Bukars tomorrow night. She was violently assaulted and had to be airlifted to hospital due to the severity of her injuries. There is a $10 cover charge that goes towards supporting the Bukars family. It is a formal theme night, so whip out those suits and dresses. Doors open at 10. Photo ID is required. The Voice of Hein Rajab is playing at the Evans Theatre this weekend. The documentary is about a 5-year-old trapped in a burning car in Gaza. Can the ambulance reach her in time? Shows start at 7:30 tonight and tomorrow with a matinee on Sunday. Admission is $7, cash only. For movie lovers, let's take a look at what's new in theaters this weekend. Debuting tonight is Project Hail Mary, a sci-fi movie where a science teacher wakes up on a spaceship light years away from home. He has no recollection of how he got there, but as he regains his memory, he discovers he has to find a way to save Earth from extinction. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, is playing on the big screen for the first time. The horror movie is about surviving a deadly game. 4 families are competing for a powerful throne. The winner takes all. Get your tickets at Landmark Cinemas, Brandon. That's what's going on in Westman this weekend. And in weather, today we reached a high of +8. You may have seen some clouds, but the sun will be out this weekend to melt away the snow. Tomorrow will be cloudy with a high of +2 and will dip to -5 at night. Sunday will be a mix of sun and cloud with a high of +1. At night, it will be clear and a low of -10. And we will start the week on Monday with sunny weather and a high of +2. We are out of the woods as spring is slowly approaching. I'm Paige Hutchinson. That's all the time we have for the Weekender. Matt Schroeder will have the sports update after the break.
Welcome back, and it's time for sports. Matthew Schroeder joins us now. Matt, what's going on in the sports world?
Well, Abby, the Cougars hockey team went for gold at the Nationals. We'll tell you more. High school basketball is at its peak, and the Brandon Wheat Kings are gearing up for their final stretch of the season.
Well, Matt, seems like a great week for sports.
I could not agree more, Abby. The Assiniboine Cougars made some noise on the international stage. The team once again reached the North American Collegiate Championships in St. Louis, Missouri. The Cougars made the finals for the 4th straight year. This time around, they came in hoping for a different result.
It was Cougars versus Cougars for the 5th straight year as Assiniboine once again faced Sault Ste. Marie College. This game was electric from the opening faceoff, with Assiniboine getting an early opportunity at the net, with Montana JUBINVILLE getting a one-on-one chance with a sharp wrister on net. Just 28 seconds later, Sioux's Taryn Sullivan picks up the puck on a strong forecheck. She finds Peyton Stoss in the slot, who rifles it past Assiniboine's goaltender Rachel Halderson to make the score 1-0. Assiniboine had their opportunities, but Sioux was just too dominant, with the shots on net advantage being 38-29. They go on to win their 4th consecutive championship after 5 straight finals appearances. After yet another great showing at Nationals, Cougars coach Charles Tweed was pleased with his team's effort and the support that they received.
You know, we're hearing about people back home in places like Russell and St. Malo, Brandon, that are having watch parties. I feel like I'm cutting a WWE promo here. I'm getting excited, right? But it just means so much to us, right? To hear that people out there are supporting us. They're tuning in. I think Flow Hockey should start giving us a cut of the revenue they're making for all the subscriptions they're getting back home.
Now to the WHL, the Wheat Kings have 2 games left in their season before the playoffs. After their game last night, they're looking to gain some momentum tonight against the Regina Pats. Let's take a look at Wednesday's game.
52 drops it off. Here's our
5 minutes into the game, and the Blades were first on the board thanks to Hayden Hersani in his first game back from injury. Just 4 minutes later, Misselbacher gets a neat tip-in off his shin to even the score up at 1. And in the second, it was all Blades as they scored 2 goals before the halfway mark. The Wheaties responded late in the second with the 2-on-1, where Pantelis took advantage and cut the lead down to 1. Unfortunately for the Wheat Kings, it was all Blades in the third as they scored 3 straight to take the game 6-2. Now over to the volleyball court, where the Assiniboine Cougars women were competing at last week's national championships. Our Morgan Walker was there.
The Assiniboine Cougars have wrapped up a busy week here in Niverville as they competed against some of the best collegiate volleyball teams in the country. The Cougars entered this tournament as underdogs, but with plenty of momentum. They faced elite competition, but battled through every set. They were defeated in close sets by Vancouver Island University and by the University of Alberta, but ended the tournament with a win over the Providence University Pilots.
Well, this is obviously a step up, as everyone would expect in playoffs, and then to nationals, every level goes up, and it was kind of all we expected it to be, and you know, we performed great on this stage, and it was nice to get out with a win today.
As often happens, the scoreboard didn't tell the whole story of the Cougars' gameplay, and the team says they leave with something just as important as winning, namely new experience and confidence, and a glimpse of what's next.
A core memory moments that I'll think about for a long time. And I can always look back on this time as one of connection and success.
For Westman This Week, I'm Morgan Walker in Niverville.
For the Cougars women's volleyball team, this year's national championships were about more than just competing on the national stage. It also marked a final chapter for a group of seniors who have helped shape the program. KRAMER reports.
The Cougars women's volleyball team capped off an historic season with a 7th place finish at the Canadian Collegiate Athletics Association National Championships in Niverville. But beyond the result, this marked the end of an era for several key players to the Cougars, as it was their last time suiting up in Cougars colors. The Cougars have shown they're a tight-knit team, but all good things must come to an end. At least 6 players are confirmed to be moving on after graduation. For libero Jordan Bradbury, who was awarded Player of the Game honors in her final game, spent the last 2 seasons with the team, and her time at Assiniboine College meant everything.
And it does mean everything to me. Having to be able to constantly start for this team and show them what I can do on a day-to-day basis, it makes me so happy to be here and get to represent them.
And for middle hitter Kira Virgo, who spent 3 seasons with the program, which is uncommon at a typical 2-year school, says it's the bond with her teammates that she will miss the most.
Well, I think just the team in general. I've had such a great experience. All the girls were all super close, and we just have a really strong bond together. And we kind of do everything together, so I don't know what I'm going to do next year without them, but I'll still be cheering them on with Brandon.
Both players say they are mostly done, but Bradbury wants to stay involved in the sport, not as a player, but as a coach.
I want to help coach eventually after I'm finished my schooling. Yeah, I would still want to be involved in the community for sure.
But for Virgo, her competitive volleyball days are coming to an end.
I don't think I'll be doing like anything like in the college league or anything like that, but I'll definitely be in women's league playing, still keeping on my volleyball.
As seniors leave the team, a fresh crop of players will enter, and the Cougars will look to continue the success they had this year for years to come. Even though the season may be over, the legacy that the senior class left on the Cougars program will be remembered for years to come. Coming to you from Brandon, Manitoba with Westman This Week, I'm Caleb Kramer.
And now a fresh look at high school basketball provincials across Manitoba, where all junior varsity teams hit the court this week. In the single AA Girls Championships, the West Park Royals came out on top, defeating the Surrey Sabres 84-75 in a high-scoring final. On the boys' side, it was a nail-biter as the Frontier Raiders edged the Warren Wildcats 71-68 to claim the title. Over in AAA, the Linden Christian Wings dominated the girls' bracket, cruising through the tournament with double-digit wins in every game. And on the boys' side, it could not have been any tighter, with the Faith Academy Lightning winning the provincial final by just 1 point. And that's a wrap on junior varsity action. Coming up this weekend, all eyes will shift to varsity provincials. Now we'd like to congratulate Venezuela for doing what Canada couldn't in taking down the USA national baseball team in the World Baseball Classic tournament and winning gold. And that's what's happening in sports in and around Westman.
Thanks for the updates, Matt. And before we go, here's a story about a peculiar kind of break and enter.
Can you spot the imposter here? That's what an Australian airport challenged followers to do when they posted on social media video of a live possum found hiding amongst plush animal toys in a terminal gift shop. The strange scene unfolded inside Hobart Airport in the Australian state of Tasmania and was shared online to the delight of social media users who couldn't get enough of this incognito cutie. The airport said the possum was safely collected and relocated, and the gift shop area was sanitized.
Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Westman This Week. Thanks for watching. It's been great to have you here with us. For all of us here at WTW, I'm Abby JUBINVILLE. Have a great weekend.